Hi, I'm Jeff Wilson. I am the composer and music writer of Immortally Yours.
And I'm Brian Norris. I'm the book writer and lyricist for Immortally Yours.
So we're going to take a few minutes and talk about the show Immortally Yours, how it came into being and our concept and where we are now and where we're going to go next. And we'll start off with Brian talking about that.
Well, actually, initially, Jeff came up with the idea for the show. And why don't you tell us what your inspiration was for the show?
Well, I initially read a vampire-themed book with werewolves in it. I'm all sure you all can figure out which one that is. And after reading the book, I was inspired to write this little ditty. And so he listened to it, and then all of a sudden he started sending me all this other stuff saying, I think we have a musical. So all of a sudden I'm getting 10 songs, 20 songs, 75 songs.
Wasn't that many.
So I took a little bit of time, almost 4 years, to finally kind of get myself in gear.
Wow, it took both of us that much time to get. We wrote a lot of material.
Yeah, so I started composing this past summer when I got back from Europe, a 3-week trip to Europe. Came back, was inspired, started flowing out of my head, and in between classes and free periods at Aquinas, where I teach, where we are right now, I just started writing and composing, and weekends and 2 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that just started coming. And this past Christmas, I sent Brian a text saying it's done. So after that, we decided to start looking into doing read-throughs and sing-throughs, and we just finished our first sing-through this past Sunday here at Aquinas, and we're very surprised to hear what it sounded like and get people's reactions, and for the most part, people's reactions were very excited to hear more. In terms of music, they were all very excited to say, yeah, this sounds really cool, I like this, and the concept of the show is really cool. So Brian and I took that and are now going to take it and start working with it and tweaking and rewriting and figuring out so that we can start showcasing some of the songs in the near future. So why don't you tell us about the concept of Immortally Yours?
The concept of Immortally Yours is, again, it's about werewolves and vampires. And I wanted to do a new version of vampires. We're a modern day tragedy, and it's a reworking of Romeo and Juliet set with vampires and werewolves. And I wanted to not do what we're seeing today in movies and TV, which is that vampires are these very romantic, good-looking, desired creatures, and really set it with a religious tone. Not that the show is religious, but there is a religious undertone that goes through the course of the show, and really build the Native American aspect of the werewolf so that we really have something that's not really seen today, which we see at these vampire stories.
In terms of the music, Brian said it was a modern day.
It's modern. I like to call it a modern day tragedy. And the thing that's great about it is that there really isn't anything like our show that's currently playing on Broadway that's ever been really seen on Broadway. And that's our goal, is to eventually get to Broadway. The closest thing that I can think of that our show comes to is Blood Brothers, the musical. But it's set in the 60s, again, but it's more contemporary. And we're not trying to be a rock musical, we're not trying to be a pop opera, but it's very operatic in style. And but again, it's contemporary, it's modern day. And I like what you said when I asked Jeff how he would explain his music, and he said to me it was...
I can't remember.
You can't remember? You said it was classical. You said it was classical with a contemporary twist.
Classical with a contemporary twist,
and
yes.
I had always envisioned my lyrics as being contemporary, but with a classical, theatrical twist. So I thought that was a kind of a cool comparison.
Yeah, and as I was thinking about the music, I'm a pianist and a vocalist, so my primary instrument is voice and piano, so I wanted the music to really reflect my love for piano, and I really wanted to reflect my love for singing as well. And the interplay between the piano and the orchestration against the vocals is going to be very interesting, because a lot of the vocals are pushing against the piano at a lot of times. Like if the piano is playing in 6/8, and the musicians are playing in 6/8, I'm pushing the vocalist to kind of go off the beats a lot, and it kind of makes it a little bit interesting. So it's not necessarily, the most craziest written score, but I was trying to channel Beethoven a lot as I was doing it as well. A lot of runs, a lot of that Baroque style of music, Mozart, Beethoven, all that feeling of beautiful melodies and also the beautiful orchestration as well. So I think that's really going to be kind of cool as we kind of see the inception of that happening. So.
Yeah, and I've always envisioned the lyrics as being more of a classical theatrical sense, in the sense that in the 20s and 30s and 40s, where there were actual pop songs, because pop songs originated in theater, and then rock and roll came, and then they sort of went two different directions. And I wanted to bring that sense of pop-driven music to the lyrics, but not that it was sounded popish.
Right.
Of course, it wouldn't sound popish with the music, but it was just the idea, the concept of that. So, and I think that really makes it interesting, again, between our two artistic visions, how they come together.
Yes.
So we're doing this Indiegogo account to raise money for our next step, which is to put on a concert series. We do one night performance here in Aquinas in Rochester, and we need to raise money for that. And what we need money for is...
We're looking, especially for technical things for the concert, such as hiring a tech director, lighting, design for that evening. We want it to look as good as possible. Sounds, and making sure that it sounds as good as possible, but also once it's orchestrated, to have an orchestra come in and play, and that will take a nice amount of money. So definitely we are looking to raise funds for that. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it really is a lot, especially for someone like us who are trying to get off the ground. And eventually we would like to see this go other places, but this will give us a good idea to see how it plays, how the music plays to an audience, and how the audience reacts to the music and to the show itself. So that's essentially what we're looking for funds for initially, and then after that we'll see what happens.
So we're going to have great rewards. We're going to have CDs of the music. We're going to have posters with our autographs on it, and some other stuff on there, some free tickets maybe for the show, and talkbacks afterwards.
Talkbacks and reception afterwards.
Yeah, so please donate. We'd really appreciate it.
Right here at Aquinas in Rochester.
Another thing is that we're an original musical, which is really rare these days. It's not based from a movie. It's not based on, well, it is sort of based on a novel, but it's our own story, so that's something that we're really, really excited about, and we hope that you're excited about that too.
Everything is absolutely original.
Yeah.
Just like us.
Just like us.
Yeah. Definitely true.